All right, baby. We're back. Row 26. We're locked in. Immediate reactions. Here we go. You got my boy Hots here, a.k.a. Charlie, a.k.a. Stone Cold, a.k.a. Mr. Ranger. What's up, John? How we doing?
We're doing well, man. We're doing well. I come in offering condolences to tonight's game to your Knicks. Obviously, we're going to get into it a little bit more, but just some immediate stuff, just the top of the dome, bitching about friends in the group chat, that real raw emotion right now. Let it out. I want to hear it.
It's all right. People in the group chat and our friends group chat just talking, you know. But the Knicks team is over exceeding, as I've said, and their talent is getting exposed right now in the late stages of the playoffs, and they're now attrition and losing Josh Hart, and we're just getting to a point now where we're running out of bodies. So you got a bunch of 65 overall, as I've said in the group chat, players from your NBA 2K squad starting in a semifinal game for the Knicks. So say what you want, but Jalen Brunson's out there by himself, basically, and it's a bunch of other guys. But I'm proud of the team, but that was a poor performance. That was horrible. So I can't even – we'll get into it. We're going to get into some NFL schedule as well. We're going to talk about the AFC side. We're going to talk about all the big matchups coming up this season. And, we'll talk about the NHL playoffs as well, baby. Let's keep it locked here. It's my boy Johnny and I, Row 26 kids.
Let's go. You know, we are obviously New York podcast, but shout out to the Pacers tonight, keeping the series alive, forcing a Game 7. Shout out to the refs. I know Zach wants to hear me say it, so.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't think that game was called slanted, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm not even watching as like a Knicks fan. I was just chilling, like sitting there. I thought we were going to lose in general, so I went pessimistic as is. And the refs did no favors. Every momentum switch, like, oh, clean block, like, perfect, yeah, let's review it. Oh, perfect, we'll give you the play. But it ends up being a jump ball, which ends up being their ball. And then they get the TJ McConnell layup, and it just changes momentum. It's not a block to a layup for a fast break for us. Anyway, Knicks. What are you gonna do?
All right. You know what we'll do? We'll step off from the Knicks. We'll get into this NFL schedule right away.
Yeah, let's do it.
Obviously, everyone's excited about it. We're going to start in the AFC. Next week's show, we'll get into the NFC. I think we should kind of bring up our favorite AFC matchups. It could be playing NFC teams, but our favorite matchups involving teams from the AFC. And then I'm just throwing this at Zach now. He hasn't heard it yet, but I say we just pick a random schedule and play the whole win-loss game that you always hear in sports talk media, sports talk radio, but just totally random. Any AFC team. That's how we'll finish it off. But
all right, okay, I'm down to play. So let's do a couple of cool teams, like some teams that have a lot of promise this year to maybe upset the Chiefs in the playoffs type teams, if you're down.
So but then we'll finish with that. But we'll start with our favorite kind of just single game matchups. I'll lead off just going right away. Ravens, Chiefs to start the season. What are you thinking?
I mean, that's chalk, I feel like, in a lot of ways, but it's awesome, and I'm here for it. Derrick Henry joining the Ravens in the offseason. I mean, everyone's looking forward to this. Chiefs have obviously reloading with Xavier. What's his name? Worthy? Xavier?
Correct. Xavier Worthy.
Yeah, I didn't want to doubt myself. But anyway, he's a special talent. He could add a nice dimension to their team, like a burner like that who can really catch the ball. I mean, that could be different. And then, in general, I think that the Chiefs still have a chance to run it back again. Mahomes has this other gear that he gets into where no one can stop him, where he's in control of the whole game. And I think that when you're at the quarterback position and you're directly affecting the game the way he does, I don't think a lot of teams are going to beat you. But week 1, I got the Ravens winning that game, to be honest. I feel like they're going to come in motivated and, Chiefs are still hungover. Of course, it's a quintessential Ravens should win that game, to be honest. Is that game in Baltimore, by the way?
Man, I believe it's in Kansas City because I feel like they usually do the Super Bowl champions get like the home game to start the season. If you want to double check me on that while I
it's
go
at
on.
Chiefs. Good call. So it is at Arrowhead. So okay.
Usually the Super Bowl champions get that home game on the Thursday night to start. That's what I was going off of. How I'll put it to you is I really like that you didn't do the usual media thing, which is doubt the Chiefs because you don't want to have like an easy take. At the end of the day, they are the favorites because they continue to prove that they are the best team. They have the best kind of management. And we see it with moves like the Ligarius Sneed trade. We see it with moves like letting Tyreek Hill go. They've proven that they're not afraid to lean on the fact that they have Patrick Mahomes, they have Andy Reid. Let's go ahead and be smart with our cap in years in advance so that when guys like Chris Jones come up to a contract, we're more willing to pay them long term than a cornerback who we think we can replace with our coaching, with our leadership, with our draft talent. And they proved to be the gold standard of the NFL the last few years and continue to be. That being said, I also like your take with the Ravens winning week one because I like what the Ravens do, especially week one.
Mm-hmm.
They've gone on to always have good preseasons, always start the season fast. And with Lamar, they usually seem to be 6-0, 7-1, 8-2, 9-3. And I want to shout out Maine in the live chat, showing up, the boy here for the kids. Love to see it. Mainstream Fishing, the GOAT. Go check him out. Go subscribe.
Oh yeah.
But back to the NFL real quick. Another matchup I'm looking forward to is the Houston Texans have a couple ones that I had to circle right away. Obviously, first and foremost about my Cowboys. That's a chance for Stroud to take over right away, win that state of Texas. And then the other one is against the Bears. Are they trying to push this Caleb Williams, CJ Stroud rivalry, hoping that this pans out to be the next generation? What do you think?
Yeah, I feel like CJ Stroud is the one. I feel like if there's a guy that's on the precipice of making a Joe Burrow type of immediate impact kind of guy right now and has the team to do it now that they got Stephon Diggs and Joe Mixon on that team, and that team was already humming last year with Will Anderson, and they got bodies on that roster. So I'm trying to, I mean, side note right now, I know all of our viewers, all of 2 viewers that we have, are trying to figure out, but I don't know how the fuck to get rid of this banner on the bottom. Honestly, like I got Jermaine trying to figure it out for me, and it says I'm going to the options, and I can't get rid of this thing that I've never seen on the bottom of our screen before. So I'm trying, viewers, just so you know, I'm trying to figure it out.
I just turned it off. It was on my end. I'm sorry.
Thank you. I had no idea what was going on. I'm staring at it. I was like, what the fuck is that? It's never happened to us in our entire Row 26 4-episode history. So, but anyway.
That was all my fault, everyone.
All good. But Baltimore is still loaded. Zay Flowers is a dog. He showed that in the playoffs last year when they really needed him. I feel like he's a guy. I still think they're a weapon short outside in order to really make that run, the Ravens, like as like a actual weapon. Like Derrick Henry's a down back. He's not really a guy that, you can use in different dimensions like Alvin Kamara type of guy that I feel like maybe Lamar would even expose a defense even more with. But so like, I don't know. I mean, obviously Henry's going to get his, but it's a weird offense. Like, is Henry going to stand next to Lamar and get like the inside handoff like that? That's not Henry's real thing. Like, that's kind of slow for Henry, to be honest. Like, I think it's more like a downhill, like get the ball in an I formation or single back, and really, I don't know. What do you think
with
on that?
Tannehill in Tennessee, we've seen him run out of that spread many times before, out of the shotgun. I don't think it's necessarily something that, and we've talked about before, coming out from one system to another, even if it's college to NFL or one offensive scheme to another. Running backs maybe have the easiest time adjusting to a new offense. And
yeah, I feel you.
And Derrick Henry, I think, will be the early down guy. And his name is eluding me right now, but a speed back came into his own last year towards the end of the season before getting hurt.
Oh,
with
Mitchell?
Baltimore.
Mitchell?
Yes. So if you mix in Mitchell, a little thunder and lightning with Derrick Henry, obviously with Lamar being some additional lightning striking from the sky.
Yeah, they got plenty of talent. Lamar's ridiculous in his own. Like, that's what I'm saying. Lamar's his own running back. So it's like with Henry, it's a huge ad, but like, for all you fantasy folks out there, like there could be a lot of hijacks there, and I don't know if I'm fucking with that. And I have him in Dynasty, which sucks.
Well,
I'm hoping he scores a lot.
You got to think that Ravens offense is going to move the ball. Mark Andrews, like you've already mentioned, Zay Flowers stepping up.
Likely is coming to his own. He's talented. He made some big catches for them down the stretch. He's definitely a talent. And Zay, obviously. But yeah, let's go through their schedule. I got game 2 right here. So obviously game 1, we agree. We'll say they're 1-0. Week 2, they got the Raiders. That game's their first home game.
Keep going.
And the next game is interesting for you, is at Dallas. So We got Baltimore going into Dallas. Let's go, Hots. Talk to me about this. Talk to me about your
that's,
Cowboys that did shit all this offseason. I can't talk as a Giants fan, but I'm going to talk honestly about the Cowboys. They didn't really do much.
I mean, the Cowboys at home were 8-0 last year in the regular season. I think in the regular season there's something like 16-3 their last 19 games at home. They are obviously a dominant home team. The Ravens are very good though. The Cowboys got a real tough draw with their schedule. We'll get into it more next week, but I think that's a very winnable game for the Ravens. But at the same time, I have to favor the Cowboys.
Game?
What?
Is that Dallas's first home game? That game?
I don't think so. I think it might be their second home game, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, let's go through the Ravens schedule quick, rapid fire, not take too much time here.
All right, so we'll count that as a W for the Ravens on my end.
I'm gonna go a loss. So you're 3-0. I'm 2-1.
Yeah. Then they got the Bills at home. I'll say that's a L. So I'll say 4-1.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. That's a win. So I'll go 4-1 also, but different losses.
At Cincy.
I'm gonna go win.
I'm gonna go loss again, and I'm gonna say 4-3. Washington at home,
win.
5-3. At Tampa, 6-3. That's trappy. At Tampa,
win.
Baker. Yeah. I'm writing 6-3. At Cleveland,
I'm gonna go loss, and that'll get them to 7-3 for me.
Who's playing quarterback for Cleveland? I'm just checking in.
Deshaun Watson.
It is Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, I think they'll still keep him out there. They haven't made any moves for anybody younger.
Are we arriving at that being the worst investment in history, optics and money-wise, and now production? Like, we don't even know what's going on with him. There's so much weird and caginess around that whole franchise now.
I can't call it the worst because you got to look at what the Browns have been through their history. You have to take a shot. Deshaun Watson was a very good quarterback in Houston. They had to kind of go for it, go for broke for your fan base, for your team. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't work, it's going to fail spectacularly. But at some point, you got to do something different to try to change, the quarterback culture of your team and city. So just real quick, that's my thoughts on that. I mean, I'm not here to defend Deshaun Watson, but
you're saying an L there because the defense is stout there.
Oh, yeah. And I just think on the road, that just seems like an in-division game. It seems like a loss to me. 7-3. I don't know what you're calling for that one.
Yeah, I'm going to call a win for there. So we agree at 7-3 at that point. Next game, Denver at home. I'm going to go 8-3. Cincy at home the next game. That's the win against Cincy. So I'll say 9-3. Are you saying
Cincy? I'm going to go win as well, 9-3. I'm a little down on Cincinnati.
Okay. At Pittsburgh, that sucks for me. I have Burrow and Dynasty. At Pittsburgh, that's a tough game. Pittsburgh's a newfound team now. I mean, Russell Wilson, are we believing in that with Mike Tomlin resurgence? They re-signed.
I don't know how Wilson and Fields are going to work together. It seems like a disaster in the waiting.
Seems like Fields is just not going to play.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see that going so simply that way. So I'm going to go ahead and take an L there for the Steelers, get them to 9-3.
Yeah. Okay. At Chargers next week, Harborough and Herbert.
I'm going to go loss there. Have them go to 9-4 in that one.
That's a good loss. I'm with you on that.
And that's just to go quick. That's another really big time.
That's an ESPN game.
Yeah, that's another
Monday night game.
matchup in the AFC for me. John Harbaugh, obviously always going to be a spectacle. Jim Harbaugh being back in the NFL in San Diego makes me think that they are going to be a team that is to be reckoned with. He's going to go there, develop the culture that he wants, and potentially bring that team back to the playoffs.
Man, Lamar at SoFi. All right. I'm going to go I'm going to go Baltimore's going to win that game. Monday night. Yeah.
All right.
Philadelphia, week 13 at home.
Yeah, give me Baltimore against the Eagles. I'll probably never pick the Eagles to win anything.
I'm writing. All right. Bye next week at the Giants. This isn't fun anymore.
40-0.
Okay. I hope not. I hope they give him a game. I always hate for that. I never wish for a blowout. I hope the Giants just play hard this year. That's what I can say. Um,
The defense will be good.
Defense
I
will play
really
hard
believe
and they'll
that.
keep them in games, but maybe Drew Lock / Daniel Jones will win them a couple, but it will be ugly. And hopefully they get a good pick next year. Pittsburgh at home now. That's going to be a win, I feel like.
I think that one's a loss. I think they split with Pittsburgh eventually. So I think we're looking at an 11-6, 12-5 kind of team. Definitely competing, definitely contending, and
Week
potentially
17
could
is the
be.
game at Houston.
Yeah, that's CJ Stroud. He's getting a lot of big matchups.
That
I'm
game's
not,
on Netflix. That game's on Christmas.
and I'm not betting against him. I like CJ Stroud.
Yeah, I think Houston's a wagon this year. Actually, I think
Me too.
what's his name, coach?
D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah, that's the guy. He's the guy right now. He's the guy.
Sounds good.
He has his hand on the fucking pulse right now. What other team do you want to go through their schedule quick?
Oh no, well I think we could just go through the one, and then I would just say let's one more game. I know you were talking about it off the air. Was the Bills and Kansas City Chiefs? Let's let you go off on that one real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously we love that the Chiefs are going to have to travel up to Buffalo for that game. That game is coincidentally in the same schedule time frame as Taylor Swift being in Toronto. We know that. So the league is obviously watching and looking at all times to be able to make a quick buck. And see if Taylor will come down for that game, which I'm sure she will. So
yeah, no, I mean, my take is she's been good for the NFL. I love to see more women getting involved in the game because I think people should just like football as a whole. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
I think it's almost like the best thing. Like women, I think if they learn the rules and get engaged and learn even the drama of it, they love like women usually enjoy reality TV. Like the NFL is the ultimate reality TV show.
Because it's literally incredible and it's reality. Yeah, absolutely. I agree completely. And
so I think the more women we get involved in the game, whether that's through Taylor Swift or whatever means, is good. And maybe it's easier for husbands to watch, NFL Sunday when their wives are enjoying it also. So shout out to Taylor, shout out to Travis. And I know there's still
the Bills are going to be. You think the Bills are going to be anything this year? Just offense. We're talking AFC.
The only thing I'm worried about with the Bills is the weapons. Obviously losing Stephon Diggs, losing Gabe Davis. They draft Keon Coleman. But besides their tight ends, they're really unspectacular. Obviously, a tight end, they have Kincaid. Mm-hmm. They obviously have
James Cook.
Dawson Knox as the other tight end as well. They got a combo. I think that they have a strong team overall, and Josh Allen is my number 2 quarterback still, no matter how you shake things out. So they'll be good. But in terms of getting past the Chiefs, I think they're going to have trouble.
Their defense is missing guys now. It feels like they're missing. They missed the window. They had the window with Hyde and Poyer, and when they really had that defense, the other guy that went to Chicago, what's his name? The linebacker. It's just slipping my brain, but
Edmonds or White?
Edmonds. Edmonds. Yeah, Edmonds. Tremaine Edmonds. But
yeah, I think mainly like we talked about Diggs and Davis. Who's he throwing the ball to? That's 2,000 yards and 18 touchdowns of production 100%. Off the top of my head.
Yeah, losing Gabe Davis and Diggs is massive. You need to keep one of those guys. I feel like the fact that they didn't make it work with Davis and they didn't go get somebody else is unfortunate. And obviously they traded up to get the receiver, right? Keon Coleman, they traded up to get into the 30.
No, they traded back from the 27 spot, and then they traded back again to get Keon Coleman. Actually,
they traded back twice.
Yeah, they traded from 27.
I know they traded back once, and that was the worthy pick, but
they traded back from 32 to 33 with the Panthers, and the Panthers took Leggett, another wide receiver before them, and then they took Keon Coleman at 33.
Weird. I don't know.
Weird moves by the Bills. But let's get into it.
Bean. Oh, man, Bean. What are you doing over there in Buffalo? What are you cooking up? Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But, what do you want to get into, Hots?
No, I'm just saying let's get into right now. I know we're jonesing over football because we miss it very much, but let's not disrespect the basketball being played. We went into the Knicks a little bit earlier. We'll get back to them, but we'll start in the Western Conference.
Yeah, I want to talk about the West. Let's do it, bro. Let's talk about your team, bro. Talk to me about your team, dude.
Oh, man. I mean, everybody knows from Row 26, I got the future on the Timberwolves. They were down 3-2. They took 3 L's in a row, the last one being an awful one.
Mhm.
And they bounced back last night in a huge way, win by 35. Denver starts the game up 9-2. It was looking like they might roll again. And then you blink and they're down 20 points, at halftime. And everything they needed to do, they were doing. They got contributions from McDaniels, had 21 points, I think closer to 15 in the first half.
Mhm.
Obviously shooting the ball well. And Edwards playing well, Gobert playing well, the whole team playing that defense that you saw back in game 2 that was just electrifying. They really responded at home. They have a tall task going into game 7. I got to confront Zach on this one. He texted me, y'all took the bait when it was like a 6-point game at halftime in game 5. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know if he means the bait as like they won the first 2 games. I bet before the
Bro,
series
I
started.
was like, yo, you guys are cooked.
I bet before the series started, so I don't know what bait there was. And then also, he was on this exact show last week being like, yay, they're looking really good. I think that's a good bet.
Oh,
And then
man.
he's like, y'all took the bait. So I didn't know what he really meant by that. I want to give him a chance to explain
Listen,
himself.
as soon as Denver won that game 4, I was like, it's done. I was like, this series is over. And then Jokic came in and did what he did. It's like, I think Minnesota was left for dead. I'm not kidding you. I thought they were left for dead. I cannot believe they won that game. It needs to be more emphasis. Everyone had them for dead. I don't care what the book said or any of that shit. Anyone watching those games, like seeing them win 2 in a row, then winning the next one with Jokic's performance, the series was over. And then Minnesota just did that. That's pretty unbelievable. I'm shocked. I'm surprised they didn't roll over. And that shows their maturity, I guess, as a team and actually someone to be fucked with versus like just a team that's just maybe like, wishy-washy in the waters. They seem like they're ready and primed, and they're fighting with a team that's going to probably win the championship. The winner of that series is probably going to win. I don't believe Boston. Porzingis is going to be out Eastern Conference Finals, games 1 and 2. That means who knows what it's going to actually be when he comes back anyway. Like, that team's – I don't believe Boston. Versus the West teams, I don't believe. I take Minnesota or Denver over Boston every time. Every time. The Knicks,
I mean, just getting into it real quick,
never know.
just this series getting to 7 games between Minnesota and Denver is a huge win for this Minnesota team going forward. They aren't quite as young as like an OKC because they do have Gobert, they do have Towns, some guys who have been around a little longer, but they still have years in this window going forward. This could be their first punch towards where they want to get to. But if
Yeah.
they do break through in game 7, which they can do, they've beaten Denver on the road twice this series. It's not impossible. If they show up, they play their best ball, they get contributions from Conley, McDaniel, Nikhil Alexander Walker, Naz Reid. They have a deep roster that is maybe the only roster that can match up at the 8-9 positions down in the rotation with Denver. They have this deep team that plays hard, that plays well together, and they have a superstar frontman in Ant Edwards who, when he's out there doing his thing, he's basically unstoppable. The one thing I would
There's
criticize his
there's
game
nobody
about,
on Denver that can check him.
the one thing I would criticize his game about is his catch and shoot ability. He can shoot off the dribble much better. If he can lock down that catch and shoot, speed release, he will be absolutely unstoppable. On the Denver side, it has to be mentioned, Jamal Murray has been non-existent this series, hasn't had a 20-point game. Even earlier in the playoffs, he did struggle against the Lakers, even though he hit the big shots at the end of the game. And he hit a big shot at halftime in this series. But if you look at his overall performances, he isn't really quite doing what you need him to do. And I just want to hear your
Short of a
opinion on
Jokic performance, I mean, they could have lost 2 straight right there and lost the series. I mean, that would have been the L right there, and then lose the next one. I mean, I don't know. Minnesota's primed, bro. I mean, they got a whip, so it wouldn't be shocking to see them win the series at this point, especially the way they performed in Game 6. That was very impressive, and there's no one on that team that can check Ant. Just like there's no one on the team that can check Jokic. I firmly believe that. Towns is the X factor. If Towns can shoot the lights out and Gobert can hold his own and keep Jokic to 30 points and not 40 points, I mean, that sounds stupid, but like shit matters. Or like make him turn the ball over twice instead of no times. Like these few plays that you're not making and you're just letting this guy cook you is then go out foul. Did he foul out in that game? Because if you're not fouling out in that game, you didn't do your job then. You're not putting
And also guys like Nas
pressure on the
Reed.
ref at that point.
And also guys like Nas Reed and Kyle Anderson, when they do come in, giving him fits and playing him and fouling him.
Out of the guy's too physical to chat. You can't deal with Jokic. And even if you do all that, he's probably going to beat you. But it's okay. You can hold your head up high and at least try. Like the game the other day was a clinic. I think you said that was the word that you used. Like clinic. That's
they just got to throw bodies at him, like, you know. And another thing that you mentioned that I think has brought to my attention more is just like how good a defense Anthony Edwards plays himself
for sure
as a two-way player, you know, locking up Jamal Murray. I mean, even he took that hard fall and we were texting in the group chat and you're like, oh, he looks gassed. And then he came back in the game and is checking Jamal Murray 90 feet. You know, I don't think he's gassed at all. He's a young man. He's out there hustling, playing, you know, amazing defense, amazing offense.
Dude, I got Denver, bro. I'm just throwing it, you know, just throwing.
Yeah, I mean,
throwing grenade.
Denver's still the favorite in Game 7, but Minnesota giving them all they could handle, and I really think that game is as close to a coin flip as it gets at this point in the playoffs. We can move on from that series right into OKC.
Sure.
And the Mavericks keep it in the West Coast. This series has been the least interesting, if I'm being honest. Just going back and forth.
The most interesting. Interesting, or the most interesting, because it is the least interesting.
All right, what are you, philosopher? Like, what do you mean? Explain your point. Why would it be the most?
I'm just playing. You're 100% correct. The series sucks, but Dallas should have won the series already, in my opinion. They gave away a game. Like, they're the better team. They're the more mature team. They're primed. They've been getting great production out of their role players like Jones and whoever else, and, you know, the center. And I mean, I don't know. I think that Dallas should have won this series in 5. They could have won the series in 5, to be honest. But they're in the correct position. Luka had a great game. He looks healthier and better. He looked more poised last game. Kyrie really hasn't had his crazy game yet, like his 40 bomb or something like that, or 35 bomb even in the series. He's really been kind of just playing the role and playing good defense, you know, kind of being the leader on the team, like really like taking over that spot. I actually think the team runs more through Kyrie's DNA than Luka's at times, just simply because of the way he's been like really leaning into being a veteran. I see him talking more on the court to the guys and really trying to make everything like organized on defense. Luka's a very lazy defender. He's incredible on offense, but he can really take possessions off, and it feels like Kyrie is usually getting them set, like Gafford set or whatever, whoever's on the court, PJ Washington. He's like getting everyone set. I watch him, or he's orchestrating the offense. He's not scoring as much as he usually does, which is weird, but it still feels like he's still in the game. Like, I haven't seen, like, I'm waiting for that bomb though, that 40 bomb.
I think we've always been a Kyrie the player podcast, even in our first iteration. You know, the way he plays has always been beautiful to watch. He's always been a star, and he's always been extremely smart. And it's a weird pairing, him and Luka. It's not your traditional NBA pairing that works. Yeah. But it simply seems to be breaking the mold of, all right, these are two guys who are scorers who can play together because they also both can pass. And Luka, as much shit as he gets for complaining and always being, you know, conversational with the refs about, this and that, overly stated, he is still tough. He does take a lot of shots. He does get beat up, and he's still merchant.
He's merchant. He has his moments where he's looking for fouls, similar to Brunson, where sometimes they're not playing basketball, they're playing foul.
But I'm saying that, but what I'm saying, two things can be true. You can be merchant and also tough and take shots and be physical, get beat up.
Because I believe the same thing about Brunson. What you just said is exactly I believe the same thing about Jalen, is that he gets hit a lot. He is a physical guard, but you know what you're saying exactly for Luka. Similar thing, physical guard, someone that invites contact, plays in the post, plays with his back to the basket in that old school post. Like, guys don't do that anymore. Most of the guards are face-up guards, like dribble this, dribble that, Allen Iverson, whatever. That's been the generation. So, I mean, it takes you back to, like, Mark Jackson, like, ass in your fucking mouth and then fucking fadeaway jumper. Can't stop it.
We can transition to the Knicks from here, but one thing I do want to ask you about earlier in this series, we saw a hack a lively strategy.
Yeah, did you see him running? Did you see him running? Did you see him, like, oh my God.
But it's just crazy to me that in like a 5 point game with like 4 minutes left, when you're a good, strong team with an SGA, with a Chet Holmgren, that you're employing that strategy.
Yeah. Nah. um, I mean, in general, I would say SGA is definitely a guy that can take over a game, and he tried his best. I would say he played great down the stretch, but he doesn't. I don't know. I've been talking about this in the group in our one of our other chats. I harp on SGA because he doesn't shoot threes, and he doesn't get the call every time. Sometimes he gets offensive fouls because of that lead arm he likes to use. He's an incredible scorer. Like, obviously not taking anything away from him, but sometimes it feels like they're kind of just going through the motions. Like, he gets 30 like throughout the game. It's just like he's too good and he gets 30, but it's not like necessarily the last 5 minutes of the game when the game's on the line and you have to go win the game necessarily. I don't know. I haven't seen that game from SGA yet, I feel like, but his averages are always going to be amazing and he scores at will. And I feel like it's right there for the taking. I also feel like they're a year away in general. And I feel like Dallas has the more experience. Luka's kind of been pushing. Luka and Brunson were pushing last year. It's the similar type of role that he has with Kyrie. Honestly, if they had Brunson, I feel like they'd be dogs, and that would be a finals contender maybe. I feel like Brunson adds more than Kyrie. If that's not a hot take, I feel like right now. But
Yeah, I would say not right now. I mean, Kyrie is obviously the most experienced player in that series, has finals titles, has hit the big shot in the finals. I would agree that OKC might just be 1 year away because of just the sheer age of their team. They are like
yeah,
the youngest team to ever be in this position in the
they shouldn't
playoffs.
be where they are. It's stupid. This is expectations are out of this world. The fact they finished one is just based on like the fucking NBA is a fucking track meet now. Like the way the game's called and the way that possessions work, they're just out athleticism and out beating people. And they have some guys that are over the top athletic and also talented and in control of their athleticism. I would say like Jalen Williams and whoever else on that squad. So
Well,
I mean,
also the NBA regular season is now less competitive, where teams are content to make the playoffs, whatever seeding it may be, and get there healthy and rested, as opposed to
absolutely.
fight for that one spot. I think if the Nuggets were committed to winning more games in OKC, no matter what happens
Like if they
in
were
the
going for
regular
70
season,
wins, like if that was the goal at the end of the
yeah,
year, like I mean,
or we
that's not
just get the second seed and play the Lakers in the first round and win in 5 games anyway, and not have to worry about fighting so hard for this regular season. I think that the NBA is the one sport where you can be like, we can turn it on, turn it off, at least to some extent. But
yeah.
we can get right into the Knicks series. You know, you were bringing up Brunson earlier. We talked about it earlier this game, but let's talk about Game 7 and what the Knicks need to do to win.
I mean, they got to play the same way they did in Game 5, basically. I mean, they just got to come out with a ton of energy in the first. They can't come out flat. I feel like Indiana is like pressing right now, and I mean, in general, the Knicks roster is a sham of what it was to start the season. That has to be said again. Like, this team is the fact that they're here is ridiculous. So they got to come out with a ton of energy and make shots early. Deuce McBride's got to get going like he did tonight. I felt like he did a great job early tonight. Kept them kind of flowing in the game. He was scoring early for them. Dante missed a couple early. I mean, in general, I feel like the Knicks just have to come out with energy and they'll be fine. And that'll give them a chance to win it in the end. And Brunson can take it home for them and they can win. I don't feel like Indiana is good enough like Boston where their talent and their team is just going to maybe surmount the idea of the Knicks having a chance. I feel like the Knicks have plenty of chance against this Pacer team. I also feel like the Pacers are a whole different team on the road versus how they play at home. So
I think you like are bad mouthing the Knicks team a lot, and which is fair. They got a lot of injuries, but it's not like the Pacers have anything spectacular. And I know
right,
you'll be like Siaka, Miles, Halliburton, but Brunson is the best player in that grouping, and Josh Hart might be the next. And then if you get DiVincenzo going, all of a sudden they have maybe two of the three best players in the series and are very capable of winning, because if you look at the Pacers roster, these guys Halliburton, these guys Miles Turner, they disappear at times. Siakam couldn't hit a free throw for days on end. So I don't think you should be in a place where you're too worried, too nervous. Obviously it's Game 7, anything can happen, but I think they have better odds at home than even a team like the Nuggets do against the Timberwolves. I think that the Knicks, if they play their game, they'll close out. They just can't get out hustled. And I think resting a little bit because it was a bit of a blowout tonight favors them going back at home. And hopefully they get the job done, for the mental health of all my Knicks fans, friends.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But in general, though, no matter who wins Game 7 on Sunday, Boston closed out their series against the Cavs. And, Boston seems to be the favorite, even with KP being out for the first 2 games. But,
And even that, he's out the first 2 games. When you get into the playoffs, it's like none of that stuff is official. It's also on the edge. Who knows when he'll really be back, when he'll really be ready.
Exactly. They could push it out.
The Celtics closeout. Obviously, a lot of the media was getting, on Jason Tatum about his performances so far this playoffs. Since they lost Game 2, he averaged 30, 11, and 7 in the last 3 games to close out, easily, comfortably win. Besides maybe game 4, you could say was a little bit closer, but this Celtics team is very good. They're very deep, and you got to think there is something to the narrative. Oh, this team, should be winning more easily when they're winning in 5 both series. When Jason Tatum's getting called out how he is, but I haven't heard anything close to the same kind of criticism of a guy like Jamal Murray.
Yeah, I mean, the Boston hasn't played anybody, in my opinion, that's worthy. I mean, they definitely got the short end. I mean, they got the best end of the stick, however you want to fucking put it. Like they were sitting pretty being able to play the Heat in the first round with Jimmy injured, and then you got to play this team. I mean, all banged up. So
can I ask you a quick question? Have you heard of seeding?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that based on how you perform in the regular season? Like this,
they earned it. They won the President's Cup.
Could be another team's path if they had done better in the regular season. So you can't just be like, oh, they're playing this path because of what they've already achieved.
Team. I'm so excited to root for the West this year. I've never been more excited. I cannot wait. It's got to come out. I'm sorry. This Boston team is so fake. Oh, my God. I don't believe them. I like White. I like Drew Holiday. Sometimes I like Jaylen Brown. Sometimes I like Jason Tatum. When they're both sometimes on the same day, they're going to win the game every time. But that doesn't always happen. And Porzingis is like whatever. And Al Horford will give you a game of production off the bench and be a very big asset. He's underrated, and I feel like he doesn't get his due, but he can hit the 3 from the corner, and he spaces the floor as a big man, and he can rebound.
Yeah. We talked about it. We talked about it last week, how Al Horford is almost the perfect guy to come in and get more minutes when Porzingis goes down because of his shooting ability.
They're a better team without Porzingis and Horford in. I could almost sell you that. That's almost sellable.
Almost, yeah. I would say almost is a good way to put it. Just because around the basket, Porzingis has a little more shot blocking, a little more, ability to leap and take some with him. But, in this going forward, whether the Pacers or the Knicks win, the path to beating the Celtics is a very limited one in terms of you're going to have to shoot the lights out. You're going to have to be the more hustle team, get more offensive rebounds, get the loose balls. You're not just going to play their game and beat them. That's the issue that the Knicks or the Pacers are going to run into, in my opinion. It seems like you kind of agree, talking about how you're already cheering for the West in the finals. So,
yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. A couple things are fighting against the Knicks. Knicks are banged up. Josh Hart just got injured, and so even if and when they win on Sunday, if that happens, they'll play on Tuesday, I believe, against Boston, and that's a quick turnaround. And, you're going into TD Garden there. That's fucked up. Like, that's a tough place to play. And, Drew Holiday, these guys are going to be looking for lunch because they've been sitting for days waiting to play. And I could see just them jumping us quickly in that game, which is possible. If they can weather the storm in the first quarter, if we were to make it to that game, then maybe we'd have a chance to steal that one. But it would be all about that first. That first could be like 30 to fucking 15 or 10, something ugly. But, Boston Boston's gonna do their thing, probably fuck around at home in one of those games, and whoever plays that team is gonna steal that game. I feel like no matter it's the Knicks or the Pacers, actually, because Boston's just that stupid of a team, and that's why I believe that they're fake. and teams don't do that at home in the first or second game of a series. I feel like that's take care of business type of thing. And against good teams that were actually healthy, I feel like Milwaukee or Miami, if they really caught Miami on a run, or Milwaukee healthy or whatever, and they lost game 2 against one of those teams healthy, like I don't think it would have been necessarily the same result and they'd be where they are. They fucked around with Cleveland a couple of times here too. Let's be clear, like that does matter. Like they make it look they don't really step on your throat, and when they should, and they do have superior talent.
I mean, they had one win in less than double digits the
Final
whole
score
playoffs.
never
How is
tells.
that? How is that
No.
not step on your throats? Basketball.
I hear.
How is that?
I know.
That's the definition of step on your throats. You're winning every game by double digits for one in the first two
The
series.
end score never tells the story, though. It never tells the story.
All right.
They lost one of those games 109 to 102. And that was, I think, without Mitchell. I think they let Markieff Morris or whatever go off for 30 points.
So that's what I'm saying. Their closest win is 7 points. They haven't had any overtime. They haven't had anything come to a last-second shot. They are stepping on throats. No one has a last-second shot to tie the game. That's a throat stepped on. What do you want? They can't do more than what you're at. You're saying, oh, those final scores don't mean anything. So what does mean something to you? What can they do to prove to you other than winning by an average of probably 15 points or more?
Watching the games going into the fourth quarters, in most of those games, Cleveland had a chance to. It was within reach, and then they would step on your throat in the fourth quarter. But
so you want no one to have
play with their food is kind of what I mean.
So you want no one to have a chance in the fourth quarter. That's the qualification to you. If the fourth quarter being team, you need them to have the other team not even have a chance in the fourth quarter. That's the only way someone's throat is stepped on, in your opinion.
Up 15 or more, yeah.
All right, so they've won a bunch of. They've won most of their games by 15 or more in the playoffs.
Yeah, the final score.
So you're saying they need to go into the fourth quarter up 15 or 20, or else the
game should be blacked out at that point.
Yeah, that's a crazy demand. That you need to outscore them before the fourth quarter by 15 to 20 points.
I suppose it's more shocking that it's not that way. Then maybe is my take then.
Well, if it's so shocking that it's not that way, then you're talking about an extremely good team.
I believe that they are, though.
So you can't have it both ways.
I mean, player for player, but I don't know why they together. I don't have a remedy for that, but from what I watch, player for player, they're all great players. But together, it's a pot of goo. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, a pot of goo that's 8-2 in the playoffs with an average margin of victory of 15 points.
Hasn't won shit.
Yeah, no one's won shit this playoffs yet. We're talking about all teams that haven't won shit so far.
I'm just saying the Tatum, Brown, if we're talking about this era, they haven't won anything.
All right, so who has? Just the Nuggets? That's the only team left that has.
The Warriors, yeah.
The Warriors aren't in the playoffs, so I don't know why.
I just mean in general, you were talking about who has won. Boston's never won.
Who left in the playoffs has won anything? Nobody. So
Denver, yeah.
Yeah, just Denver. So you're just searching for things to disparage them at this point.
Yeah, they're gonna stick. All these things are gonna stick. Don't you get it? They're fake. They've played no competition and they still play with their food. I'm not buying, but I hear you, and I suppose
I just think
you're done what I've asked. Maybe
your take of they play with their food. Mm-hmm. When they've done what they've done is a bad take to me. They haven't played with their food. They've won each game in 5. Each series was a gentleman's sweep, and they're winning every single game but one by double-digit points. Like I said, you're saying, what more you want from them is to have the game not even be a game by the time the fourth quarter starts. That's your level of what they need to be doing is an unrealistic thing for the NBA playoffs. I don't care if Donovan Mitchell's sitting, if Jimmy Butler's sitting. That's just they're still NBA players at the end of the day. You can't just be like, oh, you should walk out there and be up 20 by the time the fourth quarter starts every game.
Exactly. I agree. 100% agree. When Max Strus is cooking you for 12 assists, I hear you, bro. I hear you. All right. Anyway.
Yeah, because Max Strus isn't an NBA player. He's been in the finals, knocking down shots.
Nash. My man, Steve Nash, didn't even know it. Miami didn't even know what they had. They didn't even know.
And he's home in 5 games.
Anyway, all right, fair enough. But yeah, so who do you think is going to win on Sunday? Just to wrap that.
I think the Knicks at home. Give me the Knicks in the Garden. They got the home court advantage. I think they should win. If they don't, that's going to be a disappointing season for Knicks fans. Obviously, you could build on it. compared to where they've came from, but they have a shot this year to get to the Eastern Conference, and if the Celtics are as fake as you think they are, maybe even win it. But I don't know if I could get on board there.
I mean, Celtics were just talking about just them. I don't believe necessarily that everything is 50-50 on Sunday, in my opinion. Like 51-49 us because we're home. But it's going to be a tough game. So looking forward to it. But yeah, let's get into some Hot's Corner here. I know the listeners are listening, waiting for us. Dude,
just real quick,
we had some views tonight, by the way. I don't know if you see. Our thing was taken.
Let's go. I just want to say real quick, we were going long, so we won't get into the NHL playoffs, but just shout out to the Rangers. Shout out to Chris Kreider. First hat trick in a period, since the Gretzky-Messier days. Only Gretzky and Messier for the Rangers have had 3 goals in a period in the playoffs. What legendary company. 2 maybe top 5 hockey players all time. Obviously, Gretzky the GOAT. And then Igor, continues when they take that come back to go up 4-3 in the third period. There's a massive opportunity for Carolina, and he makes an incredible save to hold it down.
Igor.
And we are going to the conference finals, and I can't be more excited. I love this team. They are exemplifying the characteristics of a championship team. So I'm going to take a quick sip here.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll get right into the Hot's Corner because...
We'll see you soon, Panthers. We'll see you soon.
Yeah. Well, did they win tonight? Is that game over?
Yeah, that's over. Boston lost. Series is done.
Done. Let's go. Bring on the fucking Cats.
Go, baby. Let's go, baby.
Right. You ready?
Yeah, let's get it.
All right. Uber or Lyft?
Uber.
All right. What is your Mount Rushmore of male tennis players? 4 people.
Djokovic. Federer, Nadal, and I can't believe those 3 are actually there. Wow. And probably say Sampras.
Nice. Greatest baseball nickname of all time.
Wow. The Bambino.
Allen Houston or Earl Monroe?
Earl the Pearl Monroe. I feel like that's the answer. Earl the Pearl Monroe.
Motorcycle or jet ski?
Jet ski all day. Don't do motorcycling, kids. You'll kill yourself. You'll kill yourself.
All right. GM. You could be the GM of any team you'd like. None of your favorite teams. Which team you taking?
Wow. What a question. Pass.
Which state has the worst drivers?
I think I'm living California.
Mickelson or Sergio?
Probably Mickelson.
Best Rockets throwback jersey?
Wow. That's a tough one. Good question. Best Rockets throwback jersey is what you said. Probably. I like the Hakeem Clyde Drexler era. I like with the across, like on the angle.
But what specific player for the jersey?
Oh, the Dream, I would say.
Okay, Elijah Wan.
Yeah.
Greatest kicker of all time?
Probably, I would say Vinatieri.
All right. GM of any team, no favorite teams?
Yeah, this is tough, man. I don't know. I feel like Buffalo Bills.
All right. Sounds good. Let's go over it.
We'll take Brandon Bean's job and fix that roster. I got Josh Allen already, so I feel like I'd be sitting pretty. All
right, we'll get into everything. You know how we do it.
Yeah.
Start off Uber or Lyft?
Yeah, Uber all day. Lyft is a backup. You should Lyft is call, and then if you want the top shelf, you go to Uber.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Lyft gets a little sketchy. Every once in a while, you're in a Lyft, and it's like
you're getting picked up in a Lyft. Your best car is a Mitsubishi. If you get a Mitsubishi truck, you probably made out well. That's probably a good thing. If you get a Mitsubishi car, one of those boxes, you're fucked.
There's usually like food crumbs on the floor, like, maybe like a Puerto Rican flag in the back or something, It's never just like a clean, regular car.
There's like a cover that's like falling off, like,
yeah.
and it's already like leaning on the seat when you get in. So like,
there's like a rip in it. Like right where it's supposed to be, like the one place you don't want to see a rip. Yeah,
Lyft is the kind of can't do Lyft. Lyft is like the Burger King to McDonald's, simply as.
You can have it on your phone in case you want to check it.
For sure.
If it's way cheaper, there's days, or if it's just like a busy time and you need
Lyft
one.
Sometimes in other countries you might get better luck than an Uber. To be honest.
Wow, there you go. That's a pro tip.
Pro tip right there.
All right, and then the Mount Rushmore of male tennis. I think I probably would agree. It was, obviously Federer, Djokovic, Nadal, and Sampras you went with. I think just some honorable mentions I'll throw out there. Agassi, Bjorn Borg, McEnroe.
Connors.
Yeah.
Sure.
Arthur Ashe.
Serena.
Why'd you laugh? Why'd you laugh at Arthur
Just
Ashe?
the way you said it. It's not your fault. It's you said it and I laughed. So Serena is a good one.
I did say male tennis player, so.
Oh, true.
Yeah. But so Arthur Ashe. All right, moving on. Best baseball nickname of all time. You went the Great Bambino.
Yeah.
Channeling that scene in The Sandlot.
Let's go. Come on now. By the way, that dog wasn't even that scary. I was
thinking of names of like the Sandman for Rivera versus like the guys who have nicknames that they're like always called, like Chipper Jones.
Yeah, Larry Jones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like those guys like Chipper.
Chipper's a good one.
I'm trying to think of, but like also I like the Big Cat. Andres Galarraga was always a fun one.
That's a good one.
The
Rocket for Roger Clemens. That's a good one. Lefty Grove, that's like a Chipper one. Yeah. I like those too. Those are cool. But yeah, I don't know. I went with the band.
I'm sure. I don't even know if this is true, but I'm sure Whitey Ford.
Whitey Ford. Yeah, Whitey is probably not his first name. If it is, that's a hell of a first name. I feel like that could be an old name. That's in 8 Crazy Nights. That's the name of that old man, Whitey, or like something like that. I think his name is.
You got. I don't know if it's like Whitey is like something that if you're named Whit, you could be called like Whitey, like John and Johnny, or if it's just like he's pale and his name is actually like Arthur, or his name is like Daniel Ford and they call him Whitey. So that was fun. But
Whitey's cool.
But the Great Bambino is a good one. Like I said, it brought back the Sandlot, the Sultan of Swat, the Colossus of Plout, all that stuff. So
hell yeah.
Allen Houston or Earl Monroe, and you immediately went to Earl the Pearl, which I liked. Like I almost put that in the question, but I was like, let's see where this goes.
Yeah, Houston's a nice player, so just give some love to Houston. Shout out, Houston's still involved in the Knicks organization, staying courtside for most games, like heavily involved in their operation, which I love, and always a sound mind, great shooter, good player, good baller, but this is Earl the Pearl Monroe, and if you don't know who he is, then get your YouTubes out and type it in. It's an easy to even write out. Then you have to think about it. Earl the Pearl, and it'll already start coming up. And then just watch, and that's it. That's the end of your answer.
And an NBA champion, Nick, if I'm not mistaken, also, which
I believe, I think he was the part of the 73 team. I think he was on that. I'm not sure though with the Busher. I think so though.
Yeah, I believe so. Also, I don't think he was on the team with Willis Reed in '69. I think he still was a Buck then, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, great player though.
Yeah, Earl the Pearl.
For the Lakers too, I believe. I think he was played for the Lakers. Came off their bench with Magic later on.
Yeah, a quick little transition from nickname to Earl the Pearl, but you right on it. Good job. Motorcycle or jet ski? I think we have to agree. Like you're not gonna die on a jet ski, so it's probably.
Listen, bro. I mean, you can get some nasty shit on a jet ski for sure. You can definitely fuck your shit up on a jet ski. I feel like jet ski sometimes can be sketchy, but motorcycle is never something I've ever done. A dirt bike, I can't do any of that stuff. One of my neighbors had one growing up, and I tried once, and I immediately got off. I was just like, as soon as it revved a little bit, I was like, no, it's a bad day.
I would say you're more likely to get hurt like tubing than on a jet ski, even like where you could get like serious air and then like
like behind a boat.
Yeah, exactly. Like as opposed to like a jet ski, your fall is max from a height of 4.5 feet above the water. You know, you're not like flying through the air. Like
it's just because it's sketchy because you're up and you're on the seat. So when you kind of like if you were to like kind of yank the thing and you throw your body off a little bit, you can just like fall right onto the plastic, like the side of the fucking thing, like whatever, the jet ski, and just like fucking topple over.
You mean like it lands on you?
Not like it lands on you, but like you kind of like do a quick turn and then you because of the momentum, like go that way and like kind of lean, like start falling over the side of your jet ski until like shit can happen. You're like, on is what I'm saying. Like you can.
Zach's like, you can like walk down the stairs and like slip.
Yeah. It's not Final
Destination. Obviously it can happen, but it's like the likelihood of getting seriously fucked up, like on a jet ski, like you're gonna
versus
get
tubing. If it was tubing, I agree. Like tubing's dangerous, man.
Tubing you can get fucked up for sure. When dads like take out their aggression on like tubing with their like nieces and nephews, yeah, that can get dangerous.
That can get crazy. Yeah.
All right, moving on. GM, no favorite teams.
Yeah,
you said the Bills.
Yeah.
It would suck to live in Buffalo, though.
No, why do I have to live in Buffalo?
You think you're gonna like be the GM, like, and not live in Buffalo? Where do you think you're gonna live?
I mean, I would not have no problem living in Buffalo anyway. I lived in Buffalo. I went to school there. I love Buffalo.
Yeah, but if you have your choice of anywhere, you're gonna pick Buffalo?
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. I like the Bills. I was thinking about the roster too, like a team that's like can win.
That's true.
I don't know. It was also a place that I've lived, so I can attest to it. So that's also what went into it. So it wasn't like a random, like, oh my god, this guy's picking the ugliest fucking place in the country. Like, nah, I lived there for college, so I love it.
That's true. I feel like I like the Houston Texans. I feel like it would be a nice.
Cool. Texas is cool. Yeah, I like Texas.
It'd be cool to get it. I guess it applies to the Bills too. It'd be cool to like help get a team their first Super Bowl or their first championship in any sport.
OKC would be, but it's too random of a state.
I wouldn't. Another place I wouldn't want to live.
Yeah.
OKC. I don't know how much I'd want to live in Texas now that I think about it, but.
Yeah, maybe the Cardinals. The Cardinals would be cool. They have Gannon as their coach. Whatever.
It's cool. Arizona's a tough place to live too.
Yeah. You lived out there. That's right.
Yeah, I've been there. LA, I wouldn't want to live. I like Florida and Texas. I'm thinking right now, no state income tax. You get them big boy checks.
Maybe get Tepper. Maybe take Tepper's money and just fucking spend the fuck out of it.
That's not bad. The Panthers, yeah.
Not bad. Panthers in North Carolina is not bad.
Zero job security.
Oh my god! The one false move, fire! Get the fuck out of my building.
Oh, I think I figured it out. I think for NFL at least, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, perfect. I lived in Tampa. Yeah, man. Raymond James is the best.
Nice South Florida. Got some Super Bowl pedigree, good ownership.
That's a good job.
Income tax.
Yeah, that's a good one. Job. Yeah, good fan base too. Like loyal fan base. They won some Super Bowls recently. I mean, Baker's something. They made the playoffs. That's good.
What about NBA wise? What are you thinking NBA?
NBA, I like. I was thinking Phoenix for a second. I like Golden State where they are. It's cool. It's nice.
Yeah.
Golden
Mavericks.
State. Mavericks is sick. I also just like the Mavericks, like their gym. Like it feels like every time I watch them play, like the ball just sounds different when it goes in the hoop. It's sick.
I think Steve Ballmer would be cool to work for. He seems like a
Clippers. Fun. Yeah, just like you're just a shadow though of the Lakers, and it's weird over there. I feel like I don't know. I feel like the Clippers will never win because of the Lakers.
Yeah, I feel like baseball wise, I want to be big market team that wants to spend money. I'm thinking like maybe not Dodgers because, like I said, I don't really want to. Maybe like Chicago, like the Cubs. I think would be fun.
That's a good one.
City to live in, but it does get cold.
Baltimore's a cool one, actually.
Baltimore, yeah.
Beautiful stadium. Team's sick.
Baltimore with that minor league fucking team, that's crazy.
Yeah, they're amazing. Yeah, absolutely. They're cool, and they're in a beautiful stadium. That's a great team with Rushman, whatever.
Yeah, they got so many young players. Rushman, Gunnar Henderson, Jordan Westberg, and then still in the minors, they sent back Jackson Holiday, Colby Mayo, and the pitching staff is also beasting. They added Corbin Burns, so
Yeah.
great options there. But we'll keep it moving. After that, I went Mickelson or Sergio.
Yeah, Mickelson all day. Got the green jacket. They both do, but Mickelson has more. Does he have more wins on tour?
I would assume so. I just like he's lefty. He bets like $1 billion on fucking games and shit.
Yeah, and also if we're just talking straight up golfer for golfer, like if I watched them play 1-on-1 and who I was betting on that day, I would be betting on Mickelson every time. So,
and I'm a documented anti-waggle guy. So Sergio is basically the OG waggle.
You don't like Ben Harmon?
No, I can't stand him. We talked about this fucking waggle boy. Fucking Georgia Bulldogs fan. Get Ben Harmon out of here.
Yo, Ben Harmon, let's go, baby. Big waggle.
Yeah, no waggle. I'm team no waggle. Let's get this shit going. Let's make golf fun again.
Oh yeah. Speaking of golf, can we just quickly acknowledge Scotty Scheffler fucking coming out of a jail cell and shooting -5?
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Man, shout out.
Best Rockets throwback. You went Olajuwon. I think that's a good answer. I was thinking you mentioned Drexler as well. I was thinking Drexler. Kenny Smith is a fun one. Tracy McGrady, Yao Ming.
Yeah, those are the ones I was competing with. Tracy and Yao's jersey, like that year. Like Tracy with the Chinese lettering and all that shit on the headband. I was rocking that. So that was like I
also had a McGrady jersey with that like almost like silver, white, red scheme, like silver trim.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they had like you were saying that, like, I want to say, like, yellow lettering and red Houston Rockets with, back in the day was sick also.
Those teams were
trying
cool.
to think if there's anyone else that I'm like, oh, man, that jersey would be sick, but I think those are the top.
Also, the one that, like, those are the top, and then there's one more that I'm thinking about. I'm trying to think about that right now. That's really nice. It's like an alternate of theirs. I feel like there's one that's missing that is sick. That's like I think it's from Olajuwon's era, the '90s. Also, I think it's
low key Coutinho Mobley.
Yeah, Coutinho Mobley, Steve Francis, great backcourt.
Oh, that's a good one too. Steve Francis, the franchise.
Yeah, both those guys had a great backcourt. That was a cool team. They also that was Olajuwon they had late too in those teams when he was old. I believe.
Yeah, so
and he went to the
then we got into the greatest kicker of all time. You went Vinatieri, obviously the big time kicks, the big time moments.
It's either him or Tucker,
Yeah, Justin Tucker was the other one that came to mind. Well, I will just get right into it. The reason we bring it up is because our verbal flopper tonight is a kicker, and despite what you may see people posting his bad highlights right now because of what he said, is he is either the 1 or 2 kicker in the NFL right now, and that's
man, and he's a guy that could have been an answer for this maybe in a couple of years because some of the kicks he's made.
Yeah, he's made some monster ones, but Harrison Butker, you're verbal flopping. We're gonna take a quick break and get right into it. I'm sure a lot of people heard about it already, but give them a background of the situation if you feel comfortable doing so.
What do you? I thought you were going to get into it. I want you to get into the box.
All right, fair enough. Harrison Butker had a speech given out at I want to say like a Catholic college, Christian college, something like that. Christian, I want to say, where he talked to the graduating class, specifically directed his comments at women, basically telling them that they should focus on the vocation of being a mother and wife, when they're probably ready to enter the workforce. That their devotion to their husband should be their primary concern, as if they have, no thought or ambition outside of being a mom and a wife, and that they can't really have their own thing in life, or that's enough, or it's something that they should, all women alike should think generally. It's just kind of ridiculous at this point in time, in this day and age. It's wild to me, you know. And the crazy thing about it is, I hear like his jersey sales have went up because of probably a lot of closed-minded people who are like, yeah. It's just crazy to me. What do you think?
His jersey sales going up means nothing. That's the first thing. That could just be all perpetrated by one group of people that are trying to push this old school traditionalism and methodology onto people. So they're going to just go and buy every single jersey as much as possible in order to make it the number one sold jersey. So don't even pay any attention to that. But in regards to his old take, it's like, what I just want to say is, why is everyone so fucking concerned about everyone else? Why is everyone so concerned about making people into doing what they are doing? Like what you like to do, or whatever your life choices are in terms of what you believe in, or where you want to go, or what do you want to subscribe to? What is this obsession that people have to that people want other people to do what they do? And it's like almost they need other people to reaffirm what they're doing is correct because they don't even really believe in it themselves. So they need to go out and get more people in order to get them to reaffirm it. It's like, I don't understand this brain. Like, is it like evangelicalism? Is that the right word? Like, I don't even know how to even describe what Harrison's whole take is, because it's 2024, bro. Like, I can appreciate what you're trying to say, but what you're saying is so off key, and it's so like it's not even off key. It's not even on the keyboard. It's not even off key. It's just like it's so left field and a totally new instrument that no one's played in 25 years. So. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's as well.
It's crazy to me. I'm glad you brought up the whole thing about like the jerseys, because they have gone up, and it's not like number one, like they've gone up his jersey sales, and it's like, well, he's a kicker. What did they go up from? How many jerseys was he really selling? And then
they've increased by 300% because his family's the only people that own them.
Yeah. No one really buys kicker jerseys. Let's be fair. And then, well, moving on from that is also, my girlfriend said it to me. She's like, all right, he was talking to a Christian college. That's one thing. Maybe a lot of them have that same style of belief. But when like pressed about it, when responding to it, he still like doubled down on that when he's talking to the masses, where like you're mentioning, like not everyone believes what you believe, bro. Like you don't have to have everyone like, if you are a Christian, you're supposed to.
Like he had to double down at that point when you're riding on that team, and he's already given the speech, and then he goes and does press. He has to wear it now.
I think he has the option to say, "Look, I knew who my audience was. Other people who follow the same religion I do. Mm-hmm. I'm not necessarily spreading this message to non-Christian faith believers, or." He could have said something along those lines where, look, I respect what other people want to do. I was talking to people who want to live the style of life that I do with my wife. That's the audience that I thought I was talking to. Or he could just say, you know what, maybe I was wrong about that. Maybe, I don't have to push that on other people. But to double down, like I said, not just talking to that, same style of audience.
That's a verbal flop.
The greater audience, that's where it becomes like, all right, man, now you're just like, you just want to die on this hill because you have too much pride, which is, I'm 100% positive, is one of the 7 deadly sins, pride. So how are you going to sit here and wax poetically about being a Christian when you aren't humble and you're proud and you're judgmental?
Because people be on their soapboxes and they also feel like they're righteous, and that's cool. And he probably feels like God's gift after making tons of kicks and making millions of dollars and playing for the best team, and he's got everything going for him. So he feels invincible to be able to do and say whatever he wants, and doesn't really care if other people are going to be negatively affected by it or be influenced or feel like you're pressing your beliefs onto them or whatever it might be in terms of the angle. Like, no one gives a fuck. I think that at the end of the day, like, people are going to read this media, and then it's going to be the next story in 2 days, and it'll be in the rear view, and he'll wear it for 2 days. And that's probably what his PR is telling him. Like, he says one thing about it in the thing, and they might ask again and again and again, but I'm sure he's going to just be like, I'm sorry, I'm done commenting on that. It's over, like blah, 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 and push it. And then the Chiefs will start winning and losing, and we'll be all back to square one.
And to not be a hypocrite, for the record, if he and his wife and his family are happy, and that's what they want to do, great. Live your life. That's amazing. I'm glad you guys are happy. That's how you want to live, that her vocation is to dedicate herself as a wife to you and a mother to her kids, and that she's happy and she's content. fantastic. That's you do your thing, but you don't have to make other people feel guilty for not doing that. And that's what
Also,
it felt
yeah,
like
it
he
doesn't
was
have to be
doing.
included in a commencement speech. That's a huge verbal flop as well. Like in general, your topic could just be about the improvement of just like society and making sure you guys go out there and be constituents to the society as a whole by being great stand-up adults and career-oriented people or whatever you're going to be doing, or just make sure you put all your 100% into whatever you're doing and just
Yeah.
be positive and reaffirming and like could have been a whole other angle. So that's a whole verbal flop too.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, press is, you know, people are gonna record you and there's going to be press there. So you know what you're doing too. So that's all fucked too. It's like,
Of all the messages that you can send, that's
yeah.
you didn't have to choose that.
Yeah, like you were just going through like a page and pages of topics and ideas of what you could say in a commencement speech. And you're just like, oh, here, my belief system, which is for core people that live in Utah. Oh, perfect. This is for me. Perfect. Let me just.
Yeah. Wild move. But to go from a flop to, a victory formation, we got to talk about the boy. We're big fans here. Scotty Scheffler. First off, congratulations on the kid. A whole month after the Masters where you said you'd pull out. That was a big risk you took there, buddy. But you threaded the needle. You threaded the needle right in between the Masters and the PGA. So you had the kid. Congratulations to you and your family, your firstborn son. That's amazing. And then obviously, why don't you get people up to date to what happened today and then maybe follow up with how your boy shot?
Yeah, so obviously we have the PGA Championship going on right now in the PGA. So if you don't know what the PGA Championship, obviously it's one of the four majors. So big tournament going on. Xander Schauffele tied the course record and tied for a round of 18, tied the record for 18 holes, shooting a 62 in round one. Unbelievable. Guy's ridiculous. And then he'll obviously fade away and lose the tournament because that's what he does. So something to keep your eyes on. But he's a certified lock to finish top 5 now. I would say he's been playing some great golf. Morikawa I saw was making a move, but Scotty Scheffler, bro, he's in a jail cell doing warm-ups with his coach who's standing outside the jail cell, who's giving him things, and he's doing things in jail, warming up and getting ready for a tournament. And then he comes out and shoots -5 for a total of -9, and he is well in the thick of it, man. Pause. But Scotty Scheffler is here, and it's pretty unbelievable to say that. And also shout out to the boy Thigala. We've been talking about him on the pod before. Thigala's sick. I do want to mention him. I was just looking up the scores right here next to me. So we got the order right now, just to brief you right now, Hots, is Schauffele, Morikawa, Thigala, Bryce DeChambeau, who had a hole out and was unbelievable, and then Bryce DeChambeau is tied with Scotty, and Detry, a random guy from Germany, it looks like, or Belgium. I can't tell if the flag is black, yellow, and red, though, so I assume it's one of the two. So that they're all -9. The Gal is -10. Morikawa is -11, and Schauffele is -12. So
just to catch everybody up completely, fortunately there was a tragedy, on the road to get to the championship at Valhalla, and there was a vendor who passed away, God bless. But it shut down basically the highway, and the police had told golfers that they were allowed to use the shoulder, to get to the tournament. One cop, I guess, didn't know or went kind of rogue. He ends up jumping on Scotty Scheffler's car, who drove for, I want to say, quote unquote, 10 yards or 10 feet with the guy in his car, just not knowing probably what the hell was going on. I think that they concluded that it was $80 in damages to his pants. It's a nothing thing, but it's just very funny, the visual of Scotty Scheffler stretching, probably humming many men wish that upon me. Or
cop just jumps right on top of the car. Oh my god!
He just in the jail cell locked up, them all let me out for a grand total of 8 minutes, I'm pretty sure, and then they let him out and he played great. And it's just wild circumstances, but for Scotty to play that well, given those circumstances, given he's probably barely slept the last few days when his wife was in labor, and he just comes out there. He's the president, man. He's him. He's out here doing Tiger Woods things at this point.
Pretty unbelievable.
He's pretty much against the field type of bet at this point. And obviously this tournament, Sanders playing out of his mind, but Scotty Scheffler coming into every tournament is the odds-on favorite easily. And I said it to Zach off the air. I'm going to say it now. I'm betting him for Father's Day to win, no question, at the U.S. Open. So if you want to lock that in sooner rather than later, telling you now.
It's a great bet. I mean, obviously, I think he's going to take this tournament just because of all the dust up and the whole media. I mean, it's like he needed one extra thing, one little cherry, just to like make him and then he got a cop jumping on his car. So here we are, and he goes and shoots -5, just ridiculous. He's too locked in. He's too much of a regular golfer. He feels like one of the guys that could just pull up 5 minutes before a match and then just go shoot like 65 like it's nothing. He does come off the way he swings. Everything about him felt that way, so it's not shocking to see versus guys that are like technicians and need to get there 2 hours before and like lock in, go crazy. Like I don't feel that way with him, and it's just so fitting that he comes out and balls. Like he's ridiculous. He's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, we're a Team Scotty podcast for sure. I'm a big Scotty Scheffler fan. Even just like his mugshot, he just like has like the beard going, like just looks like a dad who got a DUI after like leaving the local bar after a softball game. Like he's a regular ass dude. You know, I'm a big Scotty Scheffler fan, and beyond just the fact of him being like a cool guy, I mean the guy is playing his ass off this whole fucking season so far, and if he putts above the average, not even great, it's pretty much a wrap for everyone else. Like, if he plays his B+ game, no one's going to beat him unless they play their A+ game. And even those guys, it's a limited number of people whose A+ game beats his B+ game. Not to get all great.
Yeah, I would even go a little bit further. I would say it's A- even, and he's in the A category consistently. Like I feel like he's an A- every round, like 4 rounds straight. And if you can't average A- at least, and sometimes he's more obviously, and he's in A+, that's the problem. But his floor is like you said, even like B+, A-. That's where we're at here, and that's his floor for each round, 4 rounds straight.
His A- is an A for most guys, or even an A+ for most guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say in terms of a grading scale, for sure, because he's critiqued differently because he's so unbelievable and his ball striking is so ridiculous. But I do think that he's beatable. I just think if you have to put it together for 4 rounds, and no one's been able to do that. He puts it together for 4 rounds. It really comes down to that. Like if you can't put it together, if you shoot a 73 on round 3 and you think you're just going to get away with that, like Scotty will make you pay and shoot a 67. It might not be the best round. It might not be the worst round, but he's going to get ahead of you there. That's 5 strokes, whatever that is, 6 strokes. So it's like, that's the difference and then you just lost him. So, and you lost
especially at a player friendly course like this.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone's going to shoot well. So you got to go with the guy that you probably believe is going to shoot the best.
He's going to make the fewest mistakes.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, love me some Scotty Scheffler. Love me some Row 26.
Hell yeah, boy. Row 26, baby. We locked. We here for the season. We'll be back. Hopefully the Knicks win on Sunday. Go Knicks. Rangers locked.
Thanks. Shout out to Maine for coming through live. I don't know what we called the pause. I don't know who we called the pause on, but I'll have to review.
He helped me out. I mean, he helped me out and then helped you out for fixing whatever the fuck that was on the beginning of our banner that you'll see when you watch this back.
He commented pause on one of us. I don't know who it was.
We'll have to figure that out. You have to timestamp it and match it.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the timestamp down.
I'm calling you on it.
Your bet's on me.
My bet's on you.
All right, my bet's on me too.
Peace.